Okay, this is lesson 11 for 8th grade, and today we're doing a bit of a review. This is something they've seen before once again. It gets a little more intense as we go on, but it's percents, and it is review, but it's something we really need to pay attention to because it can get a little tricky sometimes. Basically, we're going to be converting between percents and fractions and vice versa. And some of the rules get a little tricky. Excuse me. I informed the rest of my students that I do have some posters around the room that'll help them remember these things. I have a specific poster specified for fractions and percents. So let's jump into this. Alright. Basically, this chart here is showing us that, or what percents are. It shows us that out of 100% we can have, a little bit less. These go up by 25s. So this is 25% of our rectangle is shaded, 50%, 75%, 100%. 100% means everything is shaded. That's our whole. This also shows us what each one is as a fraction. This is 1/4 of our rectangle. This is 1/2 of our rectangle, 3/4 of our rectangle. And this is 1, or 1 out of 1. So, if we look at this quick, 50% means 50 out of 100. Percents are always out of 100, and we're going to get into that in a second. And they say that reduces to 1/2, that's right here. So, if we were to look at 5%, which we don't have up here, but we can just put 5 over 100 and reduce 1 out of 20. So that's kind of the route we're going to be going for when we go from percent to fraction, just like these. I think these are a bit easier, probably the easiest way to start off this lesson. So it says write each percent as a reduced fraction. Alright, so 1%, once again, percents are out of 100. So we're going to take 1, put that over 100. And that is already reduced. So there we go. That's our answer to A. 1% is the same thing as 1 out of 100. Now let's look at 10. 10 out of 100. Or this is B. Sorry. So 10 out of 100 would be our fraction here. But once again, we want it reduced. So what goes into both 10 and 100? Well, 10 is the largest number that equally divides both numbers. Once again, if you can find the greatest common factor between your numerator and denominator, you'll only have to divide once to reduce. If you don't find that, that's okay. You're just going to be reducing more than once. I could have divided both of these by 2, but then we would have had to divide by 5 again after that. So, just so you know. So, 10 divided by 10 is 1. 100 divided by 10 is 10. So, 10% means 1 out of 10. And C, 100%. Well, remember we said 100% means the whole thing. That's 100 out of 100, which is the same thing as 1. So 100% as a fraction, that is 1. Alright, I like these. Now, we jump into a different thing here. One way to write a fraction as a percent, so that's going backwards. We're going fraction to percent, is to find an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. So let's take 1/4 for instance. If we want to turn this into a percent, well, I know that 4 goes into 125 times, so if I multiply by 25, I get 100. If I multiply by 25 up here, we get 25. So 25 out of 100, we know that that's 25%. This is one way to go from fraction to percent. So now we're turning the tables a little bit. This was percent to fraction, now fraction to percent. And we're going to have a few different ways to do that. Okay. Now this one says write each fraction as a percent. Now I look at each of these separately here. 4, 5, 10. All three of those numbers will go into 100. So we can take this shortcut right here. So I have to multiply them both by the same number so we don't change the fraction. So I'm going to multiply this by 4 times 25 will give us 100. So 25 over 25. 3 times 25, 75. And this will be our 100. 75 out of 100, 75%. Okay. Let's look at B. Now, we want to get this to be 100 in the bottom here. So 5 times what gets us to 100? Well, if you're not sure, you can do 100 divided by 5. But 5 times 20 actually gets us to 100. So 20 over 20, 3 times 20 gives us 60. 60 out of 100 is 60%. And our final one over here, C. And I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this one. I'll show you this way, and then how we're going to have to do some of the other ones. Alright, so 3 out of 10, we want to get we want a denominator of 100 once again, so we're going to multiply by 10 times 10 gets us to 100. So 3 times 10 gives us 30. 30 out of 100 is 30%. Okay, let's take C now and go the other way with it. We're not always going to have a denominator that goes into 100 evenly. We could have 1/7, we could have 1/8, 2 out of 3. None of those denominators will go into 100 evenly, so it makes things a little more difficult. So, our alternate root will be to go, we'll take our 3/10 and we're going to multiply that by 100, or 100 over 1. And we will get 3 times 100, which is 300, all over 10 times 1, which is 10. And now we have 300 divided by 10. And we know that that's going to come out to 30. Okay? So you can see we still got the same answer either way. If you know that your denominator goes into 10 or 100, it's a little bit easier to take that shortcut. But you can always go this route too. Multiply by 100 and then do your dividing. And that's what we're going to have to do on these next ones. And I'll show you why. It's because, like I brought up earlier, we're not always going to have a denominator that goes into 100 evenly. So you can see they multiplied by 100 like I did, and they get 200 divided by 3, and then they end up getting a mixed number percent. And I'm not going to go through this one, but the next ones here, they all follow these lines. Alright, so none of these denominators go into 100 evenly, so we have to go this way. Multiply by 100 over 1. 1 times 100 is 100. 3 times 1 is 3. So we do 100 divided by 3. I know that 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract, we get another 10. 3 goes into 10 3 times again. 3 times 3 is 9. We get a 1. We're going to drop a 0 again in our decimals right here. We're going to keep getting 3s forever. So what we do here is we get a remainder of 1. So I'm going to take our remainder, put it over our divisor, and get a mixed number percent. We're going to do 33 1/3%. That's for letter A. Okay? The other way this could have been written, 1/3 is basically your 3 being repeated forever. I would also accept that as long as that bar is over that 3, so that I know, that they know, that that 3 is going to go on forever. This is a bit more accurate though, in my mind. At least I like it a little bit better that way. But that would be okay too. Okay. I'm going to check my time quick here. Okay, we're doing alright. 5 out of 6. 6 does not go into 100 evenly, so we have to do our times 100 again. And we will get 500 over 6, or 500 divided by 6. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and do that up here. 6 goes into 50 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. Subtract here, we get 2. Bring our 0 down, 20. 6 goes into 23 times. Do our subtracting. Bring our 0 down, we would get 20. So now we have a remainder of 2. This is 83 and 2/6, which is equal to 83 and 1/3. So here we're looking at 83 and 1/3%. And I got that 1/3 from reducing. Okay. Real quickly, we'll do C. Once again, 8 doesn't go into 100 evenly, so 3 over 8 times 100 over 1. 300 divided by 8. If we go through and do this one, we go 8, 300, 8 goes into 33 times, 24, 6, 0, 8 goes into here, let's see, not 8 times, 7 times, 7 times 8 is 56, we subtract, we get 4, 37 and 4 over 8, or 37 and a half. Okay, check my time quick. Still doing okay. So this is how we do it if these denominators don't go into 100 evenly, which will probably be the case most of the time. This is always the way that you can do that. Let's go over these quick. Alright. Real quick, write each percent as a reduced fraction. This will be the last thing I covered. Remember that percents are out of 100, so we're going to go 4 over 100. And if we divide, we can reduce. 4 goes into both of those, and we get 1/25. 40%, that's 40 out of 100. We reduce this. I'm going to divide by 20. 40 divided by 20 is 2. 100 divided by 20 is 5. 2/5. And our last one there is a little tricky. I'm going to say we turn this into an improper fraction first. 3 times 33 is 99, plus 1 is 100. So 100 over 3. And I'm going to multiply that by 1 over 100. Because this is basically like dividing by 100. So we get 100 over 300, which we know is 1/3. Alright, so that was lesson 11 for 8th grade.